Okay, here we go. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're going to have some great speakers talk to us about a number of city services and share some excellent information and help us out with that. I just want to welcome you on behalf of the Dallas Public Library. And again, thank you for joining us. I just have a couple of quick housekeeping things to let you know before we get started. First of which is that we're recording this meeting. If you are uncomfortable having your video posted on our YouTube page, you can go ahead and turn your camera off. The other thing to note is that the audience microphones are muted today, so we can keep the focus on our presenters and the awesome content they have to share. So if you do have any questions, you can type them into the chat box and we'll get to them at the appropriate time. So without any further ado, I'll toss it to Helen, who will talk to us about the Dallas Environmental Quality and Sustainability Department before we get going.
Thank you, Jordan. And actually, if you are a longtime participant in our Earth Day Every Day or Grow With Us series, I want to thank you very much. And I'm going to give you a surprise. I'm actually not going to do that introduction presentation today. We want to save as much time as possible so we can hear from our speakers and learn about their valuable resources that are available to the public. We are going to have 3 presentations today. Our first one is going to feature 2 speakers, Danielle McClellan and Marcos Estrada, and they are from the Sanitation Department. When they are done, we will be joined by Lieutenant Zafrani with the Dallas Police Department, who's going to talk about the iWatch Smart app. And then to bring us home is going to be Leah Bacco with Dallas Animal Services, talking about the brand spanking, sparkling new Dallas Animal Services website that I'm super excited to see. And as Jordan mentioned, please put your questions in the chat. We will have time at the very end. In that way you can ask questions to any of our presenters, but please just indicate which presenter or which app or website that your question is referring to, and we will get those to you. And I'm also going to share information in the chat about some upcoming programs and different opportunities and things that are coming up from the Dallas Environmental Quality and Sustainability Department that we hope that you will participate in. We got a lot of great programming coming up, and also some fun things like Fix a Leak Week and the Wyland Mayor's Water Conservation Challenge that we won first place in last year. The city of Dallas did, and we want to keep our title, and we need your help to do that. So I'll be sharing that information in the chat. And with that, I am very, very excited to announce our first 2 speakers. Danielle McClellan is a division manager in the Office of Environmental Quality and Sustainability, and she is responsible for the City of Dallas Zero Waste Program and the Outreach and Engagement Team. She has worked tirelessly to improve recycling and waste diversion in the City of Dallas. In January 2020, she and her team implemented the multi-family recycling ordinance that offers recycling to people living in buildings with 8 or more units. Among many other accomplishments, she is a Solid Waste Association of North America Certified Recycling Systems Manager. And joining her today is Marcos Estrada. He is a graduate of Texas A&M Commerce with a bachelor's degree in environmental science. He is a member of the Dallas Environmental Quality and Sustainability Department in the Zero Waste Division and has worked for the city for over 5 years. He is responsible for marketing and outreach related to zero waste, such as running the Dallas Zero Waste social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. We are so delighted to be here and to be with each of the attendees. As you noted, I'm Danielle, and I'm here. I love the bio that you shared, but basically I'm here because I like to make sure that people know what is available to them in the city of Dallas. And on any given day, you can find me in a vegetable garden or working with departments to offer access to recycling service. And of course, Marcos is here. Say hi, Marcos.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you, Danielle. Yeah, my name is Marcos. I am here hopefully to help everyone make good decisions about properly disposing of their waste. You can also find me running at a local trail or running the Dallas Zero Waste social media website. So that's me kind of in a nutshell.
And Marcos does a whole lot more than that. We've got a world of resources available to help you connect with your Dallas Sanitation Services, but we are here today, obviously, to talk about the Dallas Sanitation Services app. So we're just going to get right to it.
Yeah, so the first step in using the sanitation app would be downloading it, which is I'm pretty straightforward. This is fairly simple, easy process where you would go into your Apple or Google App Store and then search for Dallas Sanitation. So those two words, and then click on the icon that's circled in the screenshot to the right. And so once you do that, you click install. And then once it's downloaded, you're ready to open and use all the great features inside the app. And so all the features in the app make a great resource for everything you may have or need related to Dallas Sanitation. You can find info and get service alerts specific to your address. So just for your home, you can find out what's happening related to Dallas Sanitation. And you can also do it in English or Spanish. You can also report concerns about services, so like missed collections, or if there's problems with the app itself, you can report those. And with most concerns, they're resolved in less than a day. So it's a really quick turnaround for those problems.
It absolutely is. So once you've got that app open, you're going to land on a page that looks like this. It's the My Schedule page. And from that page, you'll be able to get the latest alerts. So kind of what's the newest thing message from Dallas Sanitation Services. You can also find from this site your current and your next pickup informations that are available to you. And so this just shows you screenshots of that. We've used my address, please don't egg my house, but I wanted you to see a real example. So here on the first, on the left-hand side, you can see that Marcos has pushed out a message about wish cycling, reminding us don't just put something in the recycling bin just because you think it might be recyclable. Make sure that you know what should go into that bin. And so for me, at the time that we took this, my next event was a reminder that Brush and Bulky was coming up for me and my neighbors, and I will be collecting, or the city will be collecting my garbage and recycling on Tuesday. And again, this is really helpful information to know, especially if you're new to your neighborhood, or if you're new to Dallas, or if you just have never really used Brush and Bulk and you're a little confused about exactly when the city might be by to pick up your items. And so for that reason, we're going to take just a little bit deeper dive into Brush and Bulk. Again, from the My Schedule app, what you're looking at is you click on your next event, in my case, or your future event, if that's what it is for you. And you can see there under Brush and Bulk, it tells you when it'll be picked up, when you must have the materials out. And that's usually, not usually, it's by 7 a.m. the Monday of your pickup week. And also what materials are acceptable. In Dallas, not everything should be placed on the curb for Brush and Bulk collection. And so if you're not sure, you can just type into the search. And in this case, I used furniture because that's one that we see a lot of on Dallas streets. And when you enter that, you can see that furniture is accepted in Dallas's Brush and Bulky item collection service, but we've got some additional information down there. You see that there are new regulations. So in the past, Dallas residents could put out whatever they wanted, however much they wanted, once a month, and the city would come pick it up. But now we have new rules, and that is that you can only put out a maximum of 10 cubic yards of material each month. That's still a whole lot, you guys. If you feel like you've got more, or you can't wait for your Brush and Bulk week, as you scroll through that same face on your app, you'll see that the city offers Cost Plus service. And Cost Plus is basically an on-demand collection service. There's a small additional fee for that. And to request Cost Plus, the app gives you every instruction you need. You just call 311 and you can get an estimate for what that cost is. And the service agent, once you accept those charges, will let you know your day for collection. If you say, you know what, I really don't want to be bothered with paying extra for Brush and Bulk pickup. I can't wait for the city to come get it during my scheduled week. I want to drop it off myself. Right in the app, you have links to our transfer stations with information geolocated to tell you which transfer station is closest to you so that you can do a free drop-off.
Yeah, and so as we mentioned before, the app has a lot of features. And so with that, you can also change settings You can report missed service, and then you can also get drop-off options, and even more than that. So with that, if you find yourself in a situation, let's say where your garbage or your recycling has not been collected on the designated day, you can go into the app and report the missed service. And you can do this by going in and then clicking the 3 circles that you see right there on the top right in that first screenshot. And then it'll take you to a page where you go down to support and click on the report a problem tab. And so once you do that, it will direct you to available options. Like, I have a problem with my collection service, such as a missed pickup, which is circled in the red right there in the second screenshot. And so once you click on that, it'll direct you to the Dallas 311 website, where you can request a service and then report an issue. So like I mentioned, like if you have a missed collection or garbage or recycling or something to deal with your brush and bulk. So,
And I think it's important. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Marcos. I think it's important to note that connection to 311 to report that missed service, you will still get a service request number. So make note of that, so that if you want to follow up on the request, you're able to do so very easily.
Oh, yes. Good point. Thank you, Danielle. Yeah, that number is a great asset in moving forward. Another great feature with the app is finding additional drop-off locations. So the city of Dallas has over 100 recycling drop-off sites conveniently located throughout Dallas. And so once you click on the link of locations right there in the second screenshot, so you can find this all through the app. So you go to recycling drop-offs, look in that first screenshot, and it'll take you to the second page where you click on drop-off locations. And then from there, it'll direct you to the community recycling drop-off webpage so it's a city recycling webpage. And on this page, as you can see, it'll take you to, you can find a map of all the locations shown on this slide. You can use this map to find the nearest location, drop-off location to you. And once you click on the location you would like to visit, it'll open your preferred navigation service, so like Apple Maps or Google Maps, and it'll give you exact directions to that particular drop-off site. Also, please know that now that apartments have access to recycling, or they should have access to recycling with the multifamily ordinance that went into effect in 2020, these recycling locations are beginning to be phased out. So there may be a situation where it's still showing up on the map, but it's been since removed. And so if you do come across that situation, just let us know, and then we can get that map updated in a timely manner.
So one of the features of the app that we know gets used a lot is people setting reminders for themselves. You know, if you're going out of town, or again, like I said, if you're new to Dallas, or if you're new to your neighborhood and you need a reminder that, hey, it's time to put out the brush and bulk, or hey, you know, your garbage day is coming up. You can set these notifications from within the app itself. Again, just click those 3 dots from your home screen, click notifications, and then you can opt in to notifications or out of notifications. You can set the time of day that comes across your phone or your tablet, or you can get an email notification or even a text message. So all of that is available to you from within the app. Since Dallas launched the Sanitation Services app, we have had over 1.5 million people view their schedule and look at it. So we know that people are using it, and we know that folks are going to it. But Marcos, I think the thing that makes this app so popular is that most people who use the app are actually on a quest. Yeah. And so if I could get Jordan to just pull up that, that interactive section for us, we'll have a little fun. How about that?
Yeah, I'm ready. Quest for zero waste.
And while we're
And so while
just to remind everybody that you can put your questions in the chat, and we will have time at the end for Q&A with all of our presenters. And I think we're all ready to take the quest.
All right. So as we're taking the quest and Jordan is clicking through for us, thank you so much for doing that. Let's go ahead and play. I think we've got an advanced group. So, well, he already clicked level 1. I was going to suggest let's do level 3. Let's start in the middle because Marcos is really good. So Marcos, the item that we see at the top of the screen are leaves. And so as Dallas residents, it's spring, we're all cleaning up our yards. Where should those leaves go?
That's a good one. Yeah, so leaves, they would probably go in your backyard composting because they're not recyclable and there's a better place than garbage. Yeah.
Absolutely. Those go in your backyard composting. Or if you don't have backyard composting, you can bag those up and put those out with your brush and bulk, and we can have them serve that same beneficial purpose in our landfill. Ooh, meat and chicken. It's lunchtime. I'm kind of hungry. Looks appetizing.
Right.
Where does it go, Marcos? Are we going to take that up to the collection
um,
center, or
that's a good
are we going to
question.
put it in our backyard compost? Where
So if we
do
had
we
a
want?
commercial composting facility, we could probably put it in there, but it doesn't really belong in your backyard composting because it would attract like mice and rodents, and you don't really want those critters around your house. So those would probably go into the garbage.
I agree. Let's
All
dump
right.
that in the garbage.
Yes.
And it's really important to make sure that you don't have any food materials left over in your recyclable items. So we've got this plastic pop bottle. We're going to say that this is an empty plastic pop bottle. Marcos,
All
I
right.
think we all know where that goes. So Jordan, you want to put it in the correct
There
container?
you go. Good job.
Yay. All right. Ooh, this is a tricky one. A
Yes, it
cell
is.
phone. All right. So seems like almost every year we've got a new version of these things coming out. Is that the best thing to do, is to always replace those, Marcos, or should we maybe try to hold on to them a little bit longer?
Yeah, the best thing, before recycling is just reusing or just holding on to a phone. If it still works, there's really no need to, get a new one and have to throw out the other one. So there's better options than putting in the recycling. And that said, it doesn't go in your recycling cart, but there is a way to recycle it. So there is electronics recycling at the transfer stations.
Ah, all right. So take those old electronics to the transfer stations. Another spring related one. We've got a plastic flower pot here. Where should that go? We're
So
assuming there's no dirt in it, no
Yeah,
plant.
I was about to say, assuming there's no plants or dirt inside, those could be recycled.
All right. So into the recycling bin with that one. One more. Ooh, another tricky one. Light bulbs. Hey, light bulbs have glass and they have metal. Can I
this
put that
is
in my recycling cart?
This is another question we get a lot. So they can be recycled, but they don't belong in your recycling cart. But they can be taken to the chemical collection center to be
Awesome.
properly disposed or recycled.
Good deal. So I
Hey.
think we're just about at time, but we've earned a reward here, and let's make our park really pretty. We've got some options here. I think we need a water feature in this park. Yeah, Dallas doesn't have a whole lot of water except our Trinity River. I don't think we can see it from downtown. All right, so that was a lot of fun. We'll be around for questions at the end. I'd like to thank Jordan for playing the game with us, and Marcos, as always, for the great work that you do to make sure that Dallas residents know what to recycle, and most important, how to reduce their waste in Dallas.
Yes.
So Helen, we'll turn it back to you.
Oh, that was so much fun. I know what I'm doing the next time I'm in a meeting that's not so exciting. I'm playing that game. All
Absolutely.
right, so, and I can't wait to add the Loch Ness Monster into my Dallas park. I want that perk. All right, so next, we're going to bring on our next presenter. We have Lieutenant Zafrani, who has been with the Dallas Police Department for 13 years and has had the opportunity to work in several units, including community engagement. Lieutenant Zafrani has been the director of the nationally recognized Dallas Fusion Center, as well as the commander of the Real-Time Crime Center. He is the recipient of the Dallas Police Department's Medal of Honor for his actions during the deadliest attack on law enforcement in the United States on July 7th, 2016. He is also a veteran of the United States Army and the recipient of multiple military awards, including the Bronze Star Medal. So, Lieutenant, thank you so much for your service and your continuing public service to all of us here in the city of Dallas. And I am super excited to learn about the iWatch program. Are you ready to share your screen?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here, and to anytime we have an opportunity to get in front of our citizens of the great city of Dallas, and to share any insight into the police department and how we do things is great opportunity, because it's really through that cooperation between the police department and the citizens that we reduce crime in the city. As a Dallas police officer for the past 13 plus years and a resident of City of Dallas for the past 13 plus years, I take this stuff very personally. So again, thank you for having me, and let's get to this. iWatch Dallas is a really cool app that was launched probably about 7 years ago, but it was outdated for several years, and last year it was relaunched again. The current app is very robust and very easy to work with. It's got a ton of features, and really fills a gap that we've had, not just here in this city, but any police department around the country, or really around the world has. What usually happens is, if you have an incident where you need the police at your location, you call 911 and police show up. But there's really no way of reporting suspicious things that are occurring, that you don't necessarily need a uniformed police officer to show up at your door on. If you're aware of your neighbor doing some illegal activity or being part of some illegal activity, really the avenue for that is not calling 911. It's informing the police department in some shape or fashion. Now, for several years, really several decades, we've had crime watch meetings in the city of Dallas. And if you have the time to attend those, I encourage you to do that. Again, I've been part of that unit and know the value in it. But if you're sitting in that community crime watch meeting, again, your neighbor that you're reporting on might be sitting next to you. So it's not a comfortable location to have that conversation with the police. iWatch app allows us to, let's see, can you guys see that? Okay. iWatch app really allows us to fill that gap. So again, it starts with Safer Dallas, and it's that old adage of see something, say something. This app was launched in a partnership between the Dallas Police Department, Safer Dallas, Better Dallas, and the iWatch group. It's, like I said, it's very easy to use. You can send crime tips from your cell phone anonymously from anywhere at any time. The tips that you send don't sit in a box for hours until the next day. They are viewed live by our analysts and our detectives in the Real-Time Crime Center and the Dallas Fusion Center as they come in. Like it says, if one person can make a difference, imagine what an entire community can do. Currently, we have 19,000 plus active users of the iWatch app. And the program is available both on Apple iOS devices and Android devices. What is iWatch Dallas? Again, it's a virtual crime watch that you and your neighbors can utilize to report suspicious activity. And that includes school threats and any possible terrorism-related events. Again, it's a partnership between us and the community of Dallas. Now, if you're outside the city of Dallas, and you have information on events that we have purview of in the city of Dallas, you can utilize this app. In some cases, if it falls just outside of our city, we will notify the proper agency to handle the complaint or the threat. Again, you download the report, you download the app through the iWatch Dallas app on either Google Play or the Apple Store. Now, once you download it, you can create an account. You click the green button at the bottom and you create an account. When you create an account, you're no longer anonymous, and you share your information with the police department. that information stays inside the real-time crime center in Dallas Fusion Center. And we'll utilize that information to get in touch with you at a later date if we had additional questions or needed additional information. But if you would like, you can remain completely anonymous to the point that even our detectives don't know who's sending that tip. I know that anonymity is important for some citizens, and we made sure that that was built into the app. Again, iWatch Dallas does not take the place of calling 911. So if you need police to respond to your location, please always call 911. Some examples are prowler calls. If you see somebody snooping around at night or during the day and they're looking in windows and things like that, that requires police response immediately. So utilize the 911 system. The biggest complaint that we get on the iWatch app in the police department and outside through replies and reports on the App Store is that citizens try to use the app and they're not successful because they're reporting a burglary or a robbery or a car accident or something like that on the app. We don't have the capability to dispatch officers from the real-time crime center or the Fusion Center based on iWatch tips. That type of information needs to come in from 911 dispatch center. So again, please utilize 911 on those instances. When you get in and you want to submit a tip, first you see the first screen here where you can share your GPS location. You can add persons of interest. You can add a vehicle description, witness information. That could be you or it could be someone else. You can add up to 5 photos or an audio or video file. So you can actually take video of the suspicious activity or the location and share that with us. You can choose a type of tip, but if you don't know exactly what you're dealing with, you can always pick not sure or other. Our detectives, again, go through the information and do a complete workup, and so they know what the complaint is. So this portion is not really important in submitting a tip. Again, the tip will let you know that you're submitting the tip anonymously, and it'll assign a tip number to the tip that you're assigning. So if you're an avid user of this app, you might have 20, 30 tips, and you can always go back inside the app and look at your previous tips, and you can track them and see what has happened with them. How iWatch works. iWatch Dallas app has a ton of easy to use features. Again, it was just built for us last year. We are entering the 2nd year of the app, and it's continuously updated. It also allows for two-way communication. So when you send a tip, our detectives are able to communicate back with you through SMS messaging and ask further questions or ask for information to clear up the tip that you have submitted. When you get that message back, it works. It functions as a text message. So please, when you submit a tip, keep an eye on the app for a few minutes to see if you get a response back. A lot of times there's information that might be important to us to have about the particular tip that you're sending in that you might not think about. Again, it provides that real-time chat, which remains anonymous as well. You can attach any kind of audio system, any kind of video. The other thing that the app does is it allows users that are Spanish speakers to utilize the app. It has a Spanish feature built in. It also recognizes other languages, up to 30 different languages. So it utilizes Google Translate, so it's not perfect, but it does provide us with a way to communicate back and forth. Again, the disclaimer is patrol units can't be dispatched from our location, so please utilize 911 in those situations. This is important. Again, tip line examples. If you believe your neighbor is selling drugs, utilize the tip line. If you believe that you see a post on social media that someone's threatening violence, that somebody's talking about mass shootings, somebody's talking about um, any kind of homegrown terrorism, please utilize the app and send us that information. If you believe that a business might be involved in human trafficking, sex trafficking, utilize the app. Again, these are situations where you don't necessarily want a police car to show up with uniformed officers. This allows us to do some background work and some investigation before our officers show up to the scene. Ring cameras. Ring cameras are great. They're pretty much always recording. So when you catch an incident on your Ring camera and of your neighbor's house being burglarized, or your car being broken into on the street, or something suspicious happening, you can share that video file with us through the iWatch Dallas app, or at least you can tell us about it. Or if you have information regarding a homicide or a robbery, you can utilize the app. Now, 911 examples are crimes that are being committed currently. If you feel unsafe, if you feel like your life or somebody else's life or well-being is in danger, or there's an abandoned vehicle blocking your driveway, if you send that to our app line, our detectives are going to respond back that you need to call 911 to get a uniformed officer out to your location. If your neighbor's playing loud music, please do not complain on your neighbor's loud music through the app. And if somebody's prowling, you always call 911. Those instances require immediate response from police. When you submit the tip, please provide the following information. Try to include the name of the person that you think is involved, or as much information about them as possible. Description, where they live, where they work, what they're wearing, how they transport back and forth. If you know somebody rides a bike up and down the street and you suspect they're the person selling drugs or committing the crime, please include that in there. Please give us a specific time that the crime is being committed. If the drug sales are occurring in the evening time, please let us know, so that way our detectives know which time of day to concentrate their efforts on. And then tell us why you think that crime is being committed. Give us a reason. One of the biggest things when we get suspicious activity calls is somebody's just saying, well, it's suspicious. Well, you have to really explain what suspicious means to you. What could be suspicious to myself as a trained law enforcement officer might not be suspicious to somebody, to my wife or a member of the public. Give us the address of where the crime is being committed. Again, if you're utilizing the app to record or take photos or audio at the location, it does have that geocoding capability and gives us the GPS locations, but please include the address. Include any social media posts. You can take pictures, you can screenshot it on your phone and send that information in, or just give us the link or the address to where you saw the post on social media. And then finally, pictures of the vehicle, or giving us license plates. Even partial license plates work great. So the focus is the Dallas Police Department is committed to serving the citizens of Dallas through a cooperative working relationship between the police and the people they serve. The success of solving crime lies in the actions of the citizens who have knowledge of or view these criminal acts. With your help, we can all strive to make Dallas a safer place to live and play. iWatch Dallas allows our citizens to harness the communication capabilities of the internet and social networking sites to report crime tips and leads. The app is a new and innovative tool to increase our community-wide effort and to reduce crime. And I know that's everybody's goal, whether we work in Dallas or live in Dallas. And for a lot of us, that's, we both work and live in the city of Dallas. I hope I've answered most of your questions, but again, if you have any questions, I'll wait till the end and I'll be happy to answer them. And thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant. I think that's fascinating that the app allows you to take like video and submit that, because that's a great way to have definitive proof of what's going on. So officers know what to expect when they arrive. And if that can be used for any other things, you have that right there in that application. So that's fantastic.
Absolutely. We'll utilize that information for evidentiary purposes later on in the investigation. And again, there's no need to go back to the citizen that took it. It's already in our hands. So it's very useful. It's very robust, and we're very proud of the app, and we encourage all citizens to utilize it.
Awesome. All right. So in a second, we're going to have Leah with Dallas Animal Services present. I just want to make a quick announcement right before. Now, if you want to go ahead and start screen sharing, Leah, please go ahead. We want to thank you for spending your time with us today. So in appreciation for that, we'd like to send everybody who is participating and watching a thank you gift. All you need to do is to send your name and mailing address to greendallas@dallascityhall.com, and we will get that mailed to you. I also put that information in the chat. All right, and so now it is my pleasure to introduce Leah Bacco. She has worked as the Public Information Coordinator at Dallas Animal Services for 1.5 years. Her role includes managing social media content and strategy, producing printed and digital materials and communications, media relations, and she will discuss today creating and maintaining BeDallas90.org, which was launched in February 2021. That was just last month. Leah is originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and has 5 years of experience in animal welfare. Thank you for joining us today.
Helen, can you hear me? My computer just, of course, froze.
Yes, I can definitely hear you.
Okay. So while my computer is thinking about loading the PowerPoint onto the screen, and I apologize, you guys, did not think this would happen. Like Helen said, I've been at Dallas Animal Services for about a year, a little over a year and a half. I started in September of 2019. And I'm so sorry that this is happening.
You know, it's not a live thing until something happens, right? So
exactly.
we're in the middle of a pandemic and all these other weird things. So something weird has to happen.
Can y'all see my screen or no?
Not yet.
Okay. Of course, it's like freezing right then. But so I've been at Dallas Animal Services for about a year and a half. I started in September of 2019, and prior to that, I was at another animal shelter up near Cleveland, Ohio, where I worked for 3 years. I currently only have one dog. She is not from Dallas Animal Services. And everything is freezing now.
That's okay. I'm pulling up your presentation. I'm hoping to get it up shortly.
Thank you.
It's all right. But we would love to hear more about your dog.
Yes. So I have one dog. Her name is Lace. She is not from Dallas Animal Services, unfortunately, but she is awesome. She's a foster fail, so I can talk to y'all about fostering if you would like. I have a background in visual communications, including graphic design and photography, which I will, of course, talk about. So visuals are big in my book. It actually is kind of what I say sets me apart from a lot of marketing professionals is I really believe in the power of a great image and good imagery. A little bit about Dallas Animal Services. For those of you who don't know, we're located on 1818 Northwest Moreland Road. Last fiscal year, which we do all our numbers on fiscal year, which is October 2019 through September 2020, we had about 22,000 dogs and cats come in, which, to put in perspective, the shelter that I came from in Ohio, we took in about 2,000 animals per year. So Dallas Animal Services is one of the biggest animal shelters in the country. Of those 22,000 pets, about 10,000 dogs and cats were adopted. We have a really big RTO program. RTO stands for Return to Owner. About 6,500 of those pets were returned to their owners. And then also I wanted to highlight that for the first time in DAS history, we actually exceeded a 90% live release rate. So what that means is that over 90% of the pets in our care got positive outcomes, either went on to new homes, were reunited with their owner, transferred to some of our rescue partners, etc. And then another big thing I wanted to highlight about DAS is that we responded to over 37,000 external service requests, which is a lot. So that means that those are 37,000 times that people called 311 or made a service request related to animal services that came to us. Can y'all still hear me, or did I completely cut out? Oh no.
You're good. We can hear you and see the presentation.
My whole computer is frozen, so I'm really sorry. But moving on to the next slide, what I wanted to talk about is the design of our new website. So this is what you guys have probably all seen before. This is the screenshot to the right, is the City of Dallas website, and it's our departmental page housed on the City of Dallas website. This is actually current, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but basically, this is what our whole website looked like prior to launching in February. And you can see it's very text heavy. It was hard to get imagery that really stood out. The navigation, because it showcased the City of Dallas's navigation as well, it was kind of confusing where the visitor needed to go. And it was just, it didn't fit in our Dallas 90 brand standards, and it just needed to be more visually appealing. Because, next slide, because visuals work. Decades worth of scientific research consistently demonstrates that people are much better at remembering pictures than words. There are recognition memory tests dating back all the way to the 1950s that found that people are able to correctly identify 98% of images they've seen before, compared with just 88% of sentences and 90% of words. So that's a lot of like numbers that I just threw at y'all, but basically what it means is that a picture's worth 1,000 words. People see images and they remember that. So what we wanted with this new website was we wanted something where someone would leave and they would remember how impactful it was, what a positive experience it was, the images that were utilized on the website and how they made them feel, the colors that were used, everything that was visual on the website. Even if they didn't remember word for word lines that were on the website, we wanted to leave them with a positive experience using imagery. So this is a mock-up of the new website. We'll take you to the real thing, which I'm hoping y'all can help me since my computer is frozen. But for now, this mock-up, what we were thinking about with the new website was, again, like I said, the imagery, making sure that they were happy photos and photos that showcased positively pets that we take in, as well as photos that showcase our awesome staff and the care that goes into every single day. Obviously, the website had to be mobile friendly, which I'll talk about some stats on that in a little bit, but mobile friendliness was huge. We wanted it to showcase our online adoption system, which we actually got a grant for a few years ago, which thankfully launched right in March during COVID-19, which we would have been in a much worse place had that not launched just in time for COVID-19 to kind of hit and everything to go virtual anyways. But we had actually received a grant for that in 2017. We wanted it to showcase our event calendar. We wanted it to showcase and highlight some of our statistics in a more graphic way than what's currently on our current website. We wanted it to link back and forth, like I said, from the City of Dallas website. So we did keep some of that on there. And then we also wanted to have really big buttons and important, the buttons that we wanted to really highlight would be those important call outs right in the navigation to make it a little bit easy. So I'm going to have, if y'all can, I know my screen is not working, but if y'all can pull up www.bdallas90.org, we're just going to take you through the homepage. And I have it memorized, so I can I can kind of tell you when to scroll down and hover over stuff.
Okay, it is up.
Perfect. So if you kind of hover over the menu, you can see that the different tabs drop down, a very easy to navigate menu. And I will talk about this in a little bit. It looks a little bit different on mobile, but for all intensive purposes, for computer, very easy to navigate. Also goes back to our Be Dallas 90 campaign, which our Be Dallas 90 campaign is a community outreach campaign to try to get Dallas residents involved in the work that we're doing to save over 90% of the pets that come into our care. So everything kind of has that Be Dallas 90 theme. So you can see those banner images, they all talk about like be something. And that's just a way for us to bring people in and see how that they can support Dallas Animal Services and the pets in our care, and we can support them. You know, Be Reunited is all about lost pets. If you're missing your pet, we want you to know that we're here to help. You'll see some of the tabs up at the top call out some big important things that we wanted to highlight, including a link that goes right to 311. You don't have to click it, but just hover over that. Goes right to 311. And the online platform, so you can make a service request right there. We also have a link that goes right to our COVID-19 page, which highlights all of the adjusted operations that we've had to do to make sure people are safe in this COVID-19 world. Also at the top, we have a lot of confusion sometimes with residents on animal cruelty, because a lot of other cities have the animal shelters actually handle animal cruelty, but in Dallas, it's a little bit different. DPD, Dallas Police Department, has an investigative unit that handles animal cruelty. So we put that right at the top. It says call 311 if you need an animal service request, but call 911 if you receive a request or if you need a request for active animal cruelty. If you kind of scroll down a little bit, you'll see the flip boxes, which are super fun. Also bring in that Be Dallas 90 campaign. If you continue to scroll down, there is our daily shelter stats, which we update every single day. So that showcases for the public how many pets are in our care. You can actually watch it. It's been going up this week. So if people are actually watching it every single day, they can see that it's kind of been rising. We're taking in more pets, so we need to start getting adoptions out. Also has our fiscal year live release rate right there. And then, yeah, if you continue to scroll down, I believe there's also links to the Our Dallas app, which again, if you download either on your Android or your iPhone, it will allow you to make a service request right from your mobile device. And then some of our life-saving statistics. So that's just the homepage. I won't take you through the entire website because that will take forever. But I really encourage y'all to check it out. And then if you can, whoever's controlling the PowerPoint, if you can bring it back to the analytics from the launch slide and let me know when you're there. Were you able to pull the PowerPoint back up?
Almost.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not losing you because I can't see y'all anymore. So
Well, I am so impressed at how memorized you have that homepage.
Oh, and the home we can talk about this later, but I essentially built the website. And so the amount of times that I have this thing that have looked at this website would astound you.
That's well, obviously, and it shows. And we are now on the analytics from launch.
Perfect. So I wanted to go over just some of the analytics. You can see that we launched on February 12th, so we are coming up on that 1 month anniversary. So I pulled these yesterday, but you can see on this first slide, we're hitting around 2,000 sessions each and every day, roughly, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. And we've had over 54,000 sessions since we've launched. So that's a lot. So that's not necessarily individuals, but it is the amount of times that people are going to the website. So it's awesome that we can track that. Our bounce rate is pretty much average. So that means that people are going to the website and either finding what they're looking for super quick and getting off, or looking at the homepage and leaving really quick, 42% before going on. And then the next slide, I think this slide is data is actually one of the most interesting things that I'm going to talk about. So this is our top posts and pages. What I find fascinating is our homepage is actually not the top page that by a long shot that people are visiting. Our very number one top page is our View Adoptable Pets page. That means there's a lot of residents in Dallas who are looking to adopt, and they're getting to it through the website, and adoptions are happening virtually, which is great news for me. And I just think these numbers are crazy. Like 56,000, there have been 56,000 page views on the View Adoptable Pets page and 34,000 on the homepage since we launched. So that's like almost double, which I think is crazy. I also think it's interesting that if you kind of look down sort of in the middle, not only are the adoption pages super, people are going to those a lot, but also a lot of our support services pages. So our View Stray Pets page and our Lost Pet support page. That means that people in the community are looking for help on our website, and these are the areas that they're going to. It means that there might be a fair amount of people who are missing their pet right now, and they're trying to find them. And so we want to make sure that we have those pages nice and updated with all the resources so that we can get them reunited with their pets quicker. And then again, I find it super fascinating. The other ones that made the top 10 include our pet rehoming support page, our pet resources page, and our page about our COVID-19 adjusted operations. So those are some of like the support services. And this list just proves that like people are not only looking to help the pets of Dallas, but they're also looking for information on how they can be helped by us, which is exactly the whole point of what we wanted in this new website. And then the last thing that I just wanted to highlight on this last slide is the device breakdown, which I also find super fascinating. About 80% of people aren't even looking at this on a computer. They are looking at it on either a mobile or a tablet, which like it does look a little bit different on your smartphone, but essentially the same. And it makes it that much more important that everything is mobile friendly these days, because it's really apparent with this device breakdown. It's just how many people are just using their phone. And I will say part of our online adoption, that grant that we received to get our online adoption portal, was that we are working on an app as well. I don't know when that's going to launch. It's probably a ways away, but I think that's going to be super impactful once that comes out as well. But we're excited to see the analytics that continue with this new website. I encourage y'all to check it out. Yeah, and that's it for me. And I hope that everyone on here considers adopting or fostering a pet from DAS, because we would love to have you on our team. And I apologize for all the technical difficulties.
You know what? If you wouldn't have apologized, you handled that like a champ. Nobody would have known. So yes, and thank you for all your hard work in building that website from scratch. And I'm encouraging everybody to put your questions in the chat for our different presenters, so that you don't even have to submit anything through an app. You can get your questions answered right here, right now, by the experts. Okay, so I'm going to start off with some questions, and these are directed to sanitation. So for Danielle and Marcos. So what is the best way to report tree branches or fallen trees blocking sidewalks or streets? The tree is on city property.
The best way is to call 311 to make that report. If the tree or the branch originates on city property, it'll get routed to the appropriate department for resolution. If it's on private property and it's blocking the street, for example, there's a streets response crew that will take care of that. If it's on residential property, like say maybe it's brush and bulk, I know that I tend to violate this rule. I feel really bad to admit it. I put my stuff it impedes the sidewalk, and it should not be there. It should be on your property. So don't put it on the sidewalk, but at the curb. But anyway, calling 311 is the best way to report that, to get it resolved.
All right, thank you, Danielle. Okay, so Lieutenant, we have a question for you. We have one of our viewers has to leave soon, and so he has an interesting concern. Jake says he hears gunshots frequently at night, and he doesn't see anything since he's inside his house. Should he always call 911 or use the app instead?
That is a great question and one we get all the time. I should have addressed that in my presentation. So you know, it's part of, unfortunately, it's part of Texas culture, I guess. So I hear gunshots all the time as well, but we encourage you to call 911 on that. And the reason is because it requires immediate police response. Now, when you call 911, you're basically just reporting that you're hearing gunshots. You're not reporting seeing gunshots, and that's the case for most people. But if you can imagine in our 911 center, from those same gunshots, they're receiving 10 or 15 different calls, and utilizing the calls and geolocating them, we can try to triangulate where the calls are coming from and direct our officers in that direction. And basically what we do is we check the locations out, make sure nobody's been shot, nobody's needing any help. And obviously we always want to try to find evidence, and you know, it is an offense to fire a gun within city limits of Dallas. And so, you know, we're always looking for information and tips. Now, if you know your neighbor is out there shooting a gun, you obviously don't want to, you know, confront them yourself. You can send that tip to us on the app, but if you hear gunshots, please call 911.
Fantastic. Thank you for that information. And we have one more question. Is there a neighborhood police officer for my neighborhood, and how do I find out who it is? Generally, and then in particular, this person is in the Reinhardt area, and they're not sure if there's a crime watch group there. And so who should they contact? Who do they need to ask?
So there's several sources. What you always want to do is you want to look in the city of Dallas. We have 7 different substations that support the police responses in Dallas. So you always want to know what substation you fall under. I believe Reinhardt community is actually close to where I live in Dallas, and that's going to be the Northeast substation on Northwest Highway. So if you contact the Northeast substation, you can Google their number. They will be able to put you in contact with the neighborhood engagement unit or the NPO office, neighborhood policing office. And there's an entire unit, and it usually consists of the sergeant and up to 10, 12 officers. And they'll let you know for your particular neighborhood when your crime watch meetings are held, where they're held, and they can put you on a mailing list and get emails and different things sent to you. The other avenue is utilizing social media sites like Nextdoor and things like that. And those people are always aware of the crime watch meetings, and those sites, specifically Nextdoor, is monitored by the neighborhood police officer. So if you have a concern, you can find them through the site and share those concerns with them.
You know what? Nextdoor, it's either used for good or evil, but in this case, we're going to use it for good, right?
Yes, there's a lot of information on there. You just have to filter it out, but there's some good stuff on there as well.
All right. So okay. So we have some holidays coming up. You know, we're coming up to spring and summer. What about reporting fireworks?
Yeah, so reporting firework kind of falls on the same line as gunshots. A lot of times, especially during 4th of July, excuse me.
Wave your arms, get that motion sensor up.
So
we appreciate you conserving electricity.
So during 4th of July, it's hard to tell if it's gunshots or if it's fireworks, but we ask you to report that either way. You know, fireworks are illegal. We get citizens that injure themselves utilizing fireworks in the city of Dallas. We tend to have really dry summers here. There's a lot of house fires that are caused by fireworks, and they're just a nuisance as well. So we encourage you to call 911 on fireworks because they require immediate response. Now, if, for example, if you know that your neighbor is, or your aunt's neighbor or whoever is storing, you know, tons and tons of firework in their garage, well, that's a safety issue, and you might not necessarily want to call 911 on that because an officer responding out to the scene is not going to have the ability to, go in that garage and do a health and safety check. In those cases, you can utilize the app. So if it's not ongoing currently and you don't need police response at the time, utilize the app. But if you're requiring police response because somebody's shooting in the air or somebody's shooting fireworks, call 911.
All right, great advice. We have Memorial Day coming up, we have 4th of July coming up. So things like that can happen. All right, Leah, this is going to be our last question, and then I'm going to close. What do you recommend for our pets for fireworks? Because some, like my dog in particular, she can't keep it together when there's thunder or fireworks. Do you have any tips or anything that we can use for our pets?
I love that y'all asked that. We will definitely be doing some social media on this in the coming months with 4th of July coming up. The biggest thing is going to be making sure your pet's microchip information is up to date. So if your pet is not microchipped yet, it's actually required in the city of Dallas. It replaced registration license tags. And pet microchipping, it's essentially a little bitty, teeny tiny microchip that is inserted with a needle in your pet's skin. When a pet shows up in our care, we scan it for the microchip. It has a unique ID that is connected to your address or your information, and we can contact you right away, get your pet back to you. So if your pet's not microchipped yet, DAS does offer microchipping for $10. You have to make an appointment on our website, our beautiful new website. And then in addition to that, I would recommend, distracting them with maybe have the TV on, some calming music. Make sure all of your doors and windows are securely closed and that your pet is inside, especially on the 4th of July. Some people do use like thunder shirts and things like that. But the most important thing is to just try to keep your pet calm and make sure they're inside so they're not bolting out of the door. So yeah, and make sure, especially on the 4th of July, make sure those collars are on with their ID tags and that their microchip information is all up to date. And there's more info on microchips at bdallas90.org.
Fantastic. That's stupendous. I actually got a collar for my dog, and it's embroidered with her name and my cell phone number, so people can see it from a distance. And also you don't have to try to get your reading for people my age. You don't have to get your reading glasses out to read that little tag. So
yes.
That's something that I really like. So in closing, Dallas Environmental Quality and Sustainability and the Dallas Public Library wants to invite you and all of your friends to enjoy a special event that we're hosting on Thursday, the 25th, on March 25th at 7 p.m. It's a conversation about the film Fire and Flood, Queer Resilience in the Era of Climate Change that includes a look at Dallas's own climate action plan. It's going to be hosted by us and the Dallas Public Library. Register for this at the Dallas Public Library Marketplace website. And also, I want to express my sincere thanks to all of our presenters today. And if you missed any of this information, you can see this video on the Dallas Public Library's YouTube page. So you can share it with others. You can post it on Nextdoor so it does some good. And also, if you missed any of the valuable information that was in the chat, make sure you follow Green Dallas on Twitter and Instagram, or Green Dallas TX on Facebook. And of course, remember, send that email to greendallas@dallascityhall.com so that we can get you that thank you gift. And if you have any questions or need any information, we can help you at greendallas@dallascityhall.com. So on behalf of the Dallas Environmental Quality and Sustainability and the Dallas Public Library, thank you all so much and stay safe.
Thanks, Ella.
Thank you. Oh.